UK pensioners are facing a period of major uncertainty as September approaches. For years, the message from government has been simple: your pension is safe, reliable, and something you can depend on. Yet, beneath the surface, that promise is beginning to show cracks. Quietly, without major fanfare or public debate, new rules are being introduced that could change how much many pensioners take home each month. For millions of people, this is not just a technical adjustment or a minor policy tweak. It has the potential to directly affect their ability to live securely in retirement. What makes these changes especially worrying is that many may not realize what is happening until the money arriving in their bank accounts begins to shrink. For most pensioners, their state pension forms the foundation of their income. It is the payment they can depend on, the cornerstone that helps cover basic needs like rent, heating, food, and transport. Many supplement this with modest savings, private pensions, or even a small amount of part-time work. But for the majority, the state pension is at the heart of financial stability. Right? So, when rules are introduced that change how pension-related income is assessed or distributed, even small adjustments can create a ripple effect that feels enormous in everyday life. And this September, several measures are set to come into effect, which, while framed as reforms to ensure fairness and sustainability, could end up cutting real income for a wide section of retirees. The government argues that these reforms are necessary. They say the pension system must remain financially sustainable in the face of an aging population, longer life expectancy, and the ever-increasing cost of welfare. To achieve this, policymakers often reach for phrases like sustainability and fairness. But for ordinary people, those words can often translate into something very different: reduced payments, stricter eligibility criteria, and a creeping rise in the complexity of claiming what should be straightforward support. This time is no different. Under the new rules, two areas stand out as particularly significant: changes to how income is assessed in relation to supplementary benefits, and the introduction of tougher residency checks. Currently, the core state pension is based on a person's national insurance contributions. Additional income from savings, private pensions, or small jobs does not directly reduce the basic pension entitlement itself. That principle remains, at least for now. But starting in September, the government will begin applying new income assessments that focus on related benefits, things like pension credit, winter fuel payments, and cost of living supplements. These top-ups have been lifelines for many pensioners, especially in recent years as inflation has eroded the buying power of fixed incomes and energy bills have skyrocketed. The concern now is that these additional forms of support will become much harder to qualify for. Thresholds will be tightened. And the inclusion of certain types of income in the calculations could mean that even modest savers, or those with small private pensions, lose hundreds of pounds a year. This is particularly likely to hit what could be called middle-income pensioners. These are not the wealthy elite who can afford to self-fund their retirement, nor the lowest-income pensioners who rely solely on the state pension. Instead, these are ordinary people who may have saved a little over the years, or who draw a small private pension on top of the state pension. Under the new rules, their combined income could nudge them over the new thresholds, meaning their entitlement to benefits like pension credit is reduced or cut off entirely. The cruel irony is that these are often the same people who are just managing to keep afloat neither rich nor destitute, but suddenly vulnerable to losing vital support because of technical adjustments in the rules. At the same time, new residency rules are being phased in. Until now, the requirement to qualify for the state pension was relatively simple for UK residents, with those abroad in certain qualifying countries also eligible. But in September, a stricter approach will come into effect. Pensioners will need to prove that they are genuinely resident in the UK for a minimum number of weeks per year to keep receiving payments in full. This is particularly concerning for those who spend part of the year abroad, perhaps splitting time between the UK and a warmer climate in Spain, France, or elsewhere. For some, this is a lifestyle choice. For others, it is driven by health reasons or family responsibilities. Regardless, the new checks could lead to payments being suspended or reduced if residency cannot be sufficiently demonstrated. Reinstating payments, if they are stopped, could take months, leaving people in financial limbo. It is worth noting that these changes do not directly dismantle the triple lock system, which ensures that the state pension rises by the highest of inflation, wage growth, or 2.5%. The triple lock has been a vital safeguard for pensioners, especially during the recent cost of living crisis, and its continuation has been politically sensitive. But many analysts see this September's reforms as a sign of what may come. Tightening rules around supplementary benefits and eligibility. The government can quietly reduce costs without touching the core pension amount, at least not yet. In practice, the effect could be just as severe for many people. Losing pension credit or a winter fuel payment can mean the difference between a household being able to heat their home in the winter or going without. For pensioners already living on a tight budget, this makes careful financial planning more important than ever. Even something as seemingly minor as a modest increase in savings interest could tip the balance. With interest rates having risen recently, money sitting in savings accounts is generating more income than before. But under the new rules, that income could count against pensioners when thresholds are assessed, leading to a cut in benefits. What feels like a small financial gain could turn into a net loss. Similarly, changes in personal circumstances. House move, taking on a small part-time job, or inheriting even a modest sum of money could all trigger reassessments under the new system. Campaigners for pensioner rights argued that the timing of these reforms could not be worse. With inflation still stubborn, energy bills remaining high, and everyday costs rising, they warn that cutting back support now risks pushing more older people into poverty. Charities like Age UK have expressed concerns that vulnerable pensioners, especially those who fall just short of the lowest income categories, may be hit hardest. The government, however, continues to present the changes as a matter of fairness, ensuring that limited resources are targeted at those most in need, and avoiding what they describe as overpayments to those with higher incomes. But for those living through it, the lived reality is that fairness may look very different from the outside than it does at the kitchen table, where bills are being counted and money is stretched thin. Not everyone will be affected equally. Pensioners who rely solely on the state pension with no additional income or savings are unlikely to see their payments directly reduced. But even they could feel the impact indirectly if eligibility for supplements changes. The group most exposed to losses will likely be those with a mix of income sources, basic state pension plus a small private pension and some modest savings. For these individuals, even small adjustments to the thresholds could translate into hundreds of pounds lost each year. And once the new system is in place, regaining lost benefits will not be easy. Financial advisors are already encouraging pensioners to think carefully about how they manage their money under the new rules. For example, withdrawing a lump sum from a private pension in a single year could push income above the threshold and reduce benefits. Spreading withdrawals across multiple years might keep income below the limit, preserving eligibility. These are not easy decisions to make. And they require careful planning, something many retirees may not be used to or comfortable with. But with the rules changing, ignoring these details could be costly for those who live abroad or who split their time between the UK and another country. The residency requirements present another layer of complexity. It will no longer be enough simply to say that the UK is your home base. Instead, you may need to keep detailed records of your time spent in the country, such as travel documents or utility bills, to prove eligibility. Without this, payments could be suspended, and once stopped, reinstating them could involve lengthy bureaucratic processes. In some cases, pensioners may find themselves forced to choose between spending more time in the UK than they would prefer or accepting reduced payments. These reforms are part of a wider trend in UK welfare policy, a shift away from universal entitlements toward targeted, means-tested support. The logic is that limited resources must be concentrated on those most in need. But this also creates a system where even small changes in circumstance can have a big impact. For pensioners, whose ability to boost income once retired is limited, this volatility can be particularly stressful. Planning for the future becomes harder when support can fluctuate based on thresholds, assessments, and new rules. Public reaction so far has been mixed. Some welcome the changes, arguing that support should indeed be focused on those with the lowest incomes. Others see it as yet another erosion of the rights of pensioners who have paid into the system throughout their working lives. On social media, the conversation has been filled with confusion.